Hello and welcome to this video about the end of Act 4, Scene 3. And in this scene, or this section of this scene anyway, Macduff finally receives the news that his family have been killed. But before we get into that, let's do a quick knowledge check as always. Stop the video, answer the questions as best as you can, and then start the video again when you're ready. Okay, number one, they have been killed by Macbeth's soldiers, by his murderers. Number two, it's a turning point because it shows that Macbeth is now prepared to kill completely innocent women and children. He has given himself over to evil completely and has become an absolute tyrant in Scotland. And the third one, male stereotypes in the play. Well, we see this a lot in Act 1 when Lady Macbeth criticises her husband for being too full of the milk of human kindness. She thinks he's too feminine to murder Duncan, and she sees that as being a negative quality, that Macbeth is too kind and compassionate to go through with the murder. And Lady Macbeth manipulates her husband by telling him that he's got to prove his masculinity to her by going through with the act of regicide. For example, she says, when you durst do it, then you were a man, as in when you dared to kill Duncan, then you were a real man. And that comes back again in Act 3. So in Act 3, Macbeth manipulates the murderers using the same technique from Lady Macbeth. He says, aye, in the catalogue ye go for men, as in, yeah, you might be men, but are you going to prove it by going and killing Banquo and Fleance and so on? So male stereotypes in the play are very much about being macho, being brave, courageous, violent, uncompromising, relentless, and they are used by characters to manipulate other people into acts of violence. Okay, here's a section of the scene then. I've cut a little bit of it out and we're just going to focus in on the news that Ross brings about Macduff's family. So Ross says your castle is surprised, your wife and babes savagely slaughtered. Now, this image of slaughter is incredibly violent. Ross doesn't cut any corners when he's telling Macduff what's happened to his family, and he kind of suggests the full level of brutality that Macbeth has brought upon them. The verb slaughtered as well suggests that it's almost as if they were animals who were butchered by the tyrant. And then if we skip down a little bit, Macduff really struggles to come to terms with this, and he keeps asking questions, my children too, my wife too, is everybody dead? And then he says he has no children. Now, this line is often discussed by critics because it's not entirely clear who the he is. It could be Malcolm. So Malcolm says, be comforted, as in, man up, sort yourself out, let's get on with things. And Macduff could be saying he has no children. Malcolm doesn't understand the grief that I'm feeling here. It could be, however, about Macbeth. He has no children, as in Macbeth wouldn't have killed my children if he had some, because he clearly cannot understand the level of grief that he's brought upon me. Or it could be about himself in the third person. It could be Macduff now saying, he has no children, I have no children, they are all gone. But it is interesting that we have these three male characters who now have no children, because we know that one of the big obsessions in the play is who you pass your family name on to, who inherits your position. And the killing of the children by Macbeth is an act of anger at the fact that he doesn't have any children to pass it on to, and also an act of fear because he doesn't want other people's children to rise up against him. And then Malcolm says, dispute it like a man, as in deal with it like a man, man up, Macduff, let's go and get our revenge. And Macduff has a really interesting response to this from Malcolm. He says, I shall do so. Yes, I will go and get my revenge. Yes, I will be brave and courageous and violent and brutal and relentless, like a man, inverted commas, is supposed to be in this time period. But then he caveats this and says, but I must also feel it as a man. So for Macduff, being manly isn't just about being brutal and violent and getting revenge. It's also feeling the emotions, feeling the grief that has kind of led from losing his family. So it's an interesting redefinition of masculinity at this point. And then he cries a little bit and so on, and then Macduff decides, right, I'm ready, let's go and get our revenge. And he says in the final yellow bit, Bring now this fiend of Scotland and myself within the sword's length set him. If he escape, heaven forgive him too. So he wants to get his sword, and he wants to see the fiend of Scotland, who is Macbeth, and get his revenge. And this is the end of Act 4, so it sets us up for getting that revenge in Act 5. Okay, just to finish this section of the play then, I want you to stop the video and do a quick summary. 3, 2, 1 summary. 3 things you notice about Macduff's reaction to the news, 2 things about Malcolm's reaction to the news, and 1 thing about Macduff's plan for what to do next. Thank you very much. The next time I see you, we will be looking at Act 5.